Hello guys, welcome to One Off Outdoors. Hopefully you're here because you saw a short video where I showed you how this backrest could now be installed in your seat, not while it's just on the pedestal, but while it's actually mounted in a seated position flush on the bottom of your ski. Now, I don't work for Sea-Doo, I'm not sponsored by them. I do want to go ahead and throw this out as a cautionary. Any modifications you do to your ski, they're at your own risk. However, I think this is modification that you're going to enjoy and appreciate. If you're going to have this seat at rest, I'm just going to go ahead and show you. There's a sticker right here that BRP puts on there. And it says, to reduce risk of severe injury, never attempt to ride with the backrest installed on the seat. Then it says this, only use the backrest when the vehicle is at rest and the seat is installed on the post. Okay, so what I believe is what Sea-Doo is doing is there's a governor switch on your jet ski that when you're on that post, that you can't go over just a few miles an hour. So if you're trolling around or drifting or something like that. However, they don't want you going 30, 40 miles an hour with your buddy sitting on this seat, which there's no way that's going to happen anyway. Your center of gravity is so high on that ski, just sitting calm is hard enough. I couldn't imagine jetting across the water with this on. Second is the way this backrest goes in here is the posts are pretty strong, but they're not super thick. And also everything that holds this in place, this is just made so when you're sitting still fishing. For example, if you've got our trolling motor mount system at One Off Outdoors, that's a shameless plug, and you're using it, you're spot locked or you're drift fishing, or you're just anchored out somewhere, you can use this as a backrest to lean up against. If you have a passenger on, then I believe in individuals, they can have the right to choose how they're going to use their vessel. But again, if you don't want this breaking down, all you got to do is say, hey, when we're in motion, don't lean back against this. If you think the person isn't smart enough to figure that out, then simply take this off, put it in your console underneath, store it, and then go to where you're going. And then when you get there, just put it right back in and your passenger can lean up against it. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you, this is my wife's Polaris, okay? It's called a 2-up, and that's because the foot wells right here have an actual step for your passenger, and the seat steps up. Now, this has a built-in backrest that is meant to be used when you're driving. It's got handholds. It's made out of heavy metal. It's going to have a little bit of flex to it. But this is designed to actually be used when you're in motion. What we're doing here is I'm just giving you an option that you can do to help your back. If you're like me, you find yourself on your ski for hours and hours daily, fishing off of this. So it makes it nice to be able to slide back, give your back a rest, and fish with a rest. Now, I hope in time that BRP just comes in, they've got these cautionary things all over the place, and just put one right here that says, do not use this while in motion. Put you a big circle with a red line through it. And let people decide on how they're going to use this, just because I believe that having this backrest available 24/7 for you to use is just great. It opens up your storage compartment. It just does so much for you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of options that you can do when modifying this to accept your seat. We're going to talk about ways that work and ways that don't work. In the first video that you're watching here, I'm going to show you the fastest and easiest way to do this, and that is by making an adjustment to this red rod right here. Now understand this seat right here, the bottom part, this is a $400 seat. The backrest is about $240. So if you're modifying this and there's a chance that you don't follow directions or you mess up, just understand the seat is going to work, but if you don't cut this rod right, it may affect whether your backrest goes in correctly. But if you'll follow the steps that I'm showing you, I'm really confident that you'll be able to do this. The modification will only take a matter of minutes, and it won't cost you a dime. And you'll have this backrest, and you can leave this in your ski the whole time. You don't have to store it in your container. It'll stay on there. It's not going to blow out. It's not going to fly out. I mean, it's really set in there. All right, let's get to the how to modify that rod. Okay, so this is option number one, getting rid of the red pin. What you can do is, if you'll look, the deck of your seat from here to here, I've got a square on it. This is the flush part of your decking that the seat is going to go on. This is an inset, but if you'll take a marker or a pen and draw a line right across here at the top and just work that all the way around, keep drawing your line, do it on both sides, come in from the other side, get it drawn in, then that's going to give you this cut line. Now you have to remember that your square that you use created a thickness, so you're actually cutting a little bit below this line, okay? A little bit below. And what's going to happen is this. Now I'm going to pull, this is with the seat in. You want to draw that line with the seat back in, because that's what causes this red plunger to come out. Now, if I pull the seat back off, I'm going to pull it out. You'll see the red plunger will go back and it'll be inset. Okay? Now, when I put the square across here, if you look, it doesn't hit. So this is the way it is all the time when your seat is not fully pushed down into it. This is why you can lock your seat down in and the tabs and everything hold it in place. Because when your seat's not in, it lowers below that deck. So what you're going to try to do is, let's shove that back in, is you're going to eliminate this red material so that when you put this across here with the seat back in, that it is flush. So that's what you're looking to cut off right there, okay? Now, as I mentioned, this is a $400 seat, so you're taking this at your own risk. But I believe that this is the shortest and easiest way to get rid of this. Okay, so I use this oscillating saw with the wood metal bit or wood nail bit. I laid it flush right across that, and I cut that off. Now, you can see it hasn't been cleaned up yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to check to make sure it's below, and it is. It's below this seat. Now I'm going to come back in before I let this go back in, before I take the seat back out. And I'm going to clean this up a little bit with some sandpaper, a file, and get this tapered just a little bit. Okay, let's get that cleaned up. Okay, so you can see everything's been sanded down. It's cleaned up. It does not hit the level. Again, I'm using this square. I'm going from flat surface to flat surface because that's where your deck is on your jet ski. Now I've got just a little bit of space in there. And again, that's with the seat in. Now I'm going to caution you here. When we use this a minute ago to draw that black line, you notice it's cut at an angle. I didn't come in here and just, for example, take my saw and cut it off flush with this black part right here, right? I just didn't come in here and make a straight cut. I want to leave this at an angle because when this retracts up in here, let me pull my seat back out. When this retracts up in there, this is where it's retracted. Notice how the bottom part still sticks out past that spring. The upper part actually goes into the spring. However, because all of this is sticking out, and this kind of has a tendency, you can't see it, but there's tension lifting this up. See how it springs upwards? Springs upwards. So by rounding all this off the edges, that keeps that sharp edge from catching on to the inside of that upper part of that spring. So again, don't cut it just straight off. You need to make sure and take your time use that oscillating saw. If you don't have an oscillating saw, you can use a grinder or a hacksaw blade. This is an aluminum rod, so it cuts pretty easy. Again, you can take like a razor blade, clean up the edges, sand it down, get it nice and smooth, get all the burrs off, and that way it doesn't have any problem at all coming in and out of that hole. Okay guys, we're back. We're out here at the ski. We've got the red plunger all smoothed off, cut off where it needs to be. Now I'm just going to take the chair, put it in a spot, and again you'll see it locks right down. It's completely secured. The backrest is in. Again, you can take this out and in whenever you want to. If you don't want it in, you can just leave it in your vehicle, put it back in the stow of your jet ski, put it back in and out just whenever you want. It's very secure. Now, I would say this. If you're going home and you're driving down the highway, yeah, I would probably go ahead and take this out, put it in the cab of your truck, throw it back in your ski, and you're good to go. But using this, leaving this in place while you're on the water, no problem at all. There's no way I would ever say it would come out. If it does, it floats, so retrace your steps and go back and find it. But like I said, it takes quite a bit of pressure to get this pulled out. Now, this is the end of video number 1. This is where we cut the rod off and made the modification. It literally takes just a few minutes. It doesn't cost you anything. Video number 2 is for those of you out there saying, Dalen, this is a $400 seat. I'm so afraid that if I cut that red rod, I'm going to mess it up, and it just freaks you out. That's fine. There is a second modification that you can do, and it's going to involve this 1.25" PVC cap. What you'll do in the second video, you'll see, is the black deck that this seat sits on. Where that red plunger comes out, you're basically making a cavity for that plunger to go down into, and that's what this cap is for. This cap will then be screwed into place, caulked into place, so you don't have to worry about any water getting into your engine bay. So basically, you're just making a cavity for that pin to go into. That's what video number 2 is. Again, if you're new to my channel and you haven't looked through the videos, go into my playlist. You're going to see a lot of modifications to especially your live wells, on how to make this aerate better, how to drain this. You can reach right in and unscrew a plug, and now while you're sitting on the ski and going back to the dock, you can drain out all the water that you need, all the blood, get rid of all of that while you're going back in, so that this is empty, instead of trying to unscrew these screws in the back, which is just ridiculous. Also, if you're new to my channel and you haven't seen our trolling motor mounting system, you definitely need to look at that. It's a patent pending product. Again, guys, thanks for watching One Off Outdoors, and make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and check out all the videos that we've got and ways to modify and to help your jet ski fishing experience. Thank you. Have a blessed day.